was all made very locally. But in 232 years, that changes, and it changes very quickly. Part of that change is traced to this building. The people who came to work in this building probably didn't know it, but they were going to change forever what it meant to live, work, and consume or use objects in the United States. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Okay. So again, my name is Jill. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask me. We are going to head around the side of the building and take 2 small steps into the bell tower, if that is okay with everyone. Once we get inside, just a couple of things. One, these buildings these floors are about 100 years old, so they're a little bit uneven. Just watch your step as you're walking through the building. Number 2, I ask that we all stay together as a group.
We're here at the Blackstone River Valley National Historic Park on July 4th.
Okay, so if you want to follow me, we're going to head around the side of the building and in through the bell tower.
Oh, very interesting. Folks, we are in Rhode Island. Look at that tower. We're going to go inside the house that we just saw.
Benches. All right. Catch this. So welcome to the bell tower of the old Slater Mill. This is a slightly newer part of the building, dating to roughly 1815 to 1820. This is how people would have come to work in this building. But before we can talk about the people who worked here, we have to talk about the people who made this building possible. There are 3 really important people in the story of building the Slater Mill. 2 of them lived not very far from here, in Providence, Rhode Island, and their names were Moses Brown and William Almy. If you are hearing the name Moses Brown and you're thinking of Brown University, you are on the right track. That is his family. Now, Moses Brown makes a decision that sets him apart from his 2 brothers, Nicholas and John. Later in his life, Moses Brown becomes a member of the Society of Friends, sometimes also called Quakers. This is what thread is made out of. Cotton does not grow very well in the Northeast. It is not hot and humid enough for long enough up here for it to thrive. So this cotton needed to be sourced from elsewhere. This cotton would have been picked and ginned, meaning cleaned, by people who were enslaved on plantations. In the early years of this building, most of the cotton is coming from English colonies. However, in 1812, the United States and Great Britain go to war again, so we will not be buying cotton from them during that period. That is when the source of the cotton really shifts from English colonies and tropical climates to the American South. In fact, most of the cotton that's processed in this building comes from the United States, the state of Georgia. So again, right, that cotton would have had that first round of processing on plantations, would have been shipped up to a major port city like Boston or Providence, loaded onto a barge, and sailed right to where that bridge is outside of the window today. In the 1790s, you could take a boat right up to the Pawtucket Falls. and it would then be unloaded by the children who worked here for a wage. You would start with that machine right there. So that's called the bale breaker. They were not very creative naming machines in the 1790s. It does exactly what the name suggests. It breaks up bales. You've got those metal teeth on the inside, right? And what it's doing is it's ripping that bale apart into smaller, more manageable pieces, like what's in that basket right there. Again, right, a person is not turning that wheel. That is where the machine is connected to the water power system that we talked about over by the model. So what are you doing if this is your task, if this is your machine? You are loading and unloading, fixing if it gets stuck. It's not really physically challenging work, but what it is mentally taxing. If you are a fourth grader, if you know a fourth grader, could you imagine spending 12 hours a day just loading and unloading, loading and unloading? I know adults, myself included, who would have a very hard time with a task like that. It's, again, not physically hard, but very boring, very mentally taxing. Like the brushes people use to brush out their heads. But what you would do is you would take some of your cotton that had come out of the bale breaker, put it right on these hand carders and brush so that all of your fibers are running parallel. This machine does that same thing, right? Faster, more efficiently, in greater amounts than a person could have done it by hand. See, that does turn on. So if you would like to follow me, I'll get that started for us.
What about the colors? How did they get the colors?
They have the colors.
Yeah. Did they have color?
Did they have color? Yeah, so that's a great question. Believe it or not, in the early years, no. If you wanted to dye your thread, you needed to do that yourself as the consumer, which is very strange to us now. But within about 10 or so years, they pretty quickly realized that they can make more money if they offer the thread pre-dyed. So they build a dye house on this property and do begin dyeing the thread at that point. But it is a bit of a later development. So this machine we're standing by is called a throstle spinner. This particular machine was built by the Locks and Canal Company in the year 1835. This is the same year that Samuel Slater passes away at his new home up in a town called Webster, Massachusetts, a place that he helps to create as one of the earlier mill villages in this country. If we take a look at this machine, we can see that it is actually pretty similar to that throstle we were just talking about. Even though it's bigger, mostly made of metal, the basics are still the same. You have roving up top, tension.
There you have it. That's the way they used to make thread. The tour just finished. I didn't want to bore you with all the talk, but it is really interesting here at the National Park, U.S. Department of Interior, or the Blackstone River Valley National Historic Park. Look at this. That water used to propel all the machines inside by whatchamacallit, a rotating mill, I guess. Just fill up with water just to make it rotate. But wow. And according to her, they used to bring the cotton up to the, you know, up the river here. And the cotton was coming from Georgia. So, just a fact. It is beautiful here, I'll tell you that. It's a beautiful day also here in Rhode Island. Look at that church over there. Huh? Yeah, those are geese. Well, look at the church. I believe she said around 1725. I'm not sure. I don't want to quote you that, but look at this. House is old. Hey guys, NJ Eddie here. I hope you liked the video that I posted on the old Slater mills. There was a short trip that I took with my wife to Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and we just went there to check it out on the 4th of July. It was nice, and I hope you really like it. And with that, I'll leave you. Please like and subscribe. And with that, I'll see you next time in the picture. Bye.